My friends, for the very first time, I'm joined by a guest who has already been on the show. But exactly 1 year ago, this guest was on the show and has now become a good friend of mine, and that's Isaac Boots. Thank you for saying yes to me once again, my friend.
Always, always. Nice to talk to you again.
It has been exactly 1 year, and I'm not going to bring up the fact that we're still on a Zoom call, even though I just said that. But this is 1 year since we aired your episode when I first met you, and that was last Thanksgiving, when you were really
Was
deep in the
that,
weeds.
was that your favorite episode ever?
It was one of my favorites, 100%. People are always asking, like, who was one of your top guests? And I was like, it's anybody I actually become friends with on the show from.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. It was 1 year from now. But I want to talk to you about the past year. I want to talk about what happened this summer with you. And then we'll get into like some other hot topics, which come down to betting
Cool.
on yourself, building a brand, sustaining a brand, maintaining focus. I think you're an expert in those arenas because you've done such a great job building your life. But anyway, so thank you again for even saying yes. But if we can go back in time one moment, I remember when I first interviewed you last year, it was because of the No Kid Hungry campaign, and you were deep in the weeds of it with everything you were doing on Instagram Live, and you're still doing it, Isaac. You might be one of the only people I can follow every single day knowing that you're going to keep doing what you're doing. But if you can look back at the past year for us for a moment and everything that you've accomplished, what does it mean to you? What do you kind of think about when you think of the fact that we did this, what we're doing right now, exactly a year ago?
I mean, look, I live my life um, with passion. Anything I do is because I want to do it. Is because I love doing it. And it's been extraordinary. Like there was no strategy to sort of make Torched or make myself this global brand. Um, I'm very thankful for it, and I do feel like I'm still in the beginning of it, But I just
Mhm.
feel fortunate that I'm surrounded by people who have the same ethos as I do. That I have people showing up every day around the world excited.
Mm,
People showing up that have become friends through the live stream. They live all over the world.
mm,
That was another cool thing this summer. I opened my torch shop in the Hamptons, and these ladies from around the world have been on a group text every day called Boots Babies. They live in Minnesota, Florida, Jersey, California, Mexico, Canada. They rented a house together in Southampton specifically to come to the torch shop to take class with me. And I just think that is really rare. I think that's really special. I think that's really beautiful. And um, which is why it's not work for me to show up every day. It's not work for me to care about it. You know
mm,
what I mean? And offer what I do for free every day.
mhm,
Because if you don't give back and if you aren't grateful, then nothing is worth it. Nothing is real.
mm,
And all of my blessings, all of my uh, experiences that I could have only dreamed of as a child, I don't take for granted. And it's a
mhm.
constant reminder of be grateful, be thankful. And you can't just say, oh, I'm grateful, great. Like you have to do the work, show up,
That's
you know,
exactly right. Oh,
and,
yeah.
and then what you gain, whether it's material or whatever, then it's blessed. Then it feels good. Then it's not
Mm,
vulgar. You know what I mean?
that's right.
So
Well,
at
it's nice
least,
that we just passed Thanksgiving in that regard.
sorry. What did Rina say? You're in the Hamptons, don't rush back. No. See, it's that girl. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Tell her
You,
I'm excited to see her.
this is the most transparent we're going to get with Isaac. This is why I love being in your
Friend,
home to do this.
that's my friend Pippa Cohen, gorgeous Pippa, who is amazing, and we're spending the week here for the holiday. And Thanksgiving morning, impromptu. She's badass, but we worked out. I did a torch live and was like, you know what? Let's make it a fundraiser, and we raised over $5,000 for the Children's Museum. So it feels good.
Impromptu. You know, you say Children's Museum, and I keep thinking of this past summer with Torch, and you were the reason I came out to the Hamptons for the first time, and it was such a fun experience. And I think you said this, but the term ethos is so powerful. And when you surround yourself with people, I saw that every time I saw you out there, and I still see it every time I see you with your friends, you know, be it Jeffrey or Steph or whoever you're with, and then you look at your community, like you had said, that had been built through Torched. The powerful ethos you've been able to build, not with just Isaac Boots, right, but with Torched, and then everybody you're around, and it's all about the good energy, and it allows you to feel very fulfilled in that regard. You also mentioned something, Isaac, and that's there being no strategy to it, but knowing, and we know a lot of the same people like in and out of both of our businesses, but I feel like most people wouldn't look at you as a business, and because you're not, you know, because you're not forced to, I feel like you don't really have to think of a business strategy or ways to like make all this money or, you know, what have you. But how can you maintain that? Because I know from a talent perspective, a lot of people end up leaning a little too hard into the fact that they've become a business. So how have you kind of been able to balance that?
I don't think of it as balance. I think of it as um, showing up, being 100%, whether one person shows up for my class or 300. Again, it comes to gratitude. I'm thankful for anybody that shows up. Also, keeping my relationships healthy and authentic and reciprocal and honest. You know, I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by friends that look out for me, and I look out for them. You know, keeping my word, showing up early, staying later. You know, taking selfies with whoever wants to, DMing back. You know, seeing people, not just someone that can advance your career. No one's that good of an actor. You can always smell the bullshit. So if you're just magnanimous and curious and open, I don't know. I mean, maybe that is a strategy in itself, because you sort of magnetize goodness. You know, and it's tough. You know, it's not all hunky dory, but taking it one step at a time in your authenticity. People feel it. People react to it. You know?
That's exactly
Also,
right.
like, I can't be anybody else, you know? So really examining who you are, what your values are. I don't see Torched as outside of myself. Torched is me. You know, I posted something the other day where I said, you know, show up 20 minutes early for work, have gratitude, you know, be honest. And a lot of people agreed. And then a few people were like 20 minutes early for work. That's my personal time. And I understand that. But to me, it's not work.
Right.
It's what I love. So why wouldn't I show up early to gather my thoughts, to meditate, to focus, so that when we start, you're on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's also, maybe that's my dance and theater training. You know, on Broadway, you have to show up 30 minutes before the show, even if you're not appearing in the show for 40 minutes. You have to be there, and you have to get into makeup, and you have to check the lighting, and you have to warm up. Like, I don't know. Maybe people just have to find jobs that they actually love.
Right. And or create it. There's a huge opportunity out there now. What you said 20 minutes.
I did. I came from Bupkis, the wrong side of the tracks.
I remember.
I mean, if I can do it, literally anyone can. My ballet teacher used to say, light steps, light. I need to hear you. I just a thought. Where were we?
This is every time I talk to you. Speaking of
By the
healthy,
way,
yeah.
I wore grills for you.
Yeah, you did. Can you show them off? You've been wearing a grill almost every time I see you out socializing.
It's
Doesn't
a
it hurt?
black.
I
No,
feel like
girl.
it would hurt.
No, well,
Very
there's
fashionable.
a little bit of pleasure and a little bit of pain.
Stop. It's not the first time I heard you say that. Okay, speaking of healthy relationships, I want to say congratulations for the first time. I mean, we're kind of in person, but I was going to wait to tell you actually in person when you slow down a bit. Um, you guys are newly engaged. This is you and Jeffrey, exactly a
He
year
said
later.
yes.
Y'all.
He said yes.
He
Yes.
said yes.
I surprised him. I had the entire staff of De Beers Madison Avenue in on it,
Mhm.
and had my best friends hiding on the second floor, FaceTiming in Jeffrey's two best friends in Canada because they can't be
That's
here.
right.
And it was a beautiful moment, you know.
You
And
guys, yeah.
another example of alignment. You know, it just it's seamless. It's aligned, you know. So I'm very excited about it, and thankful that um that we were able to magnetize each other, you know, and meet each other. And I mean, ultimately we're still on our first date.
Mm.
He came down last November
This time last year.
13th. And he was supposed to be here just for the weekend, Friday to Monday morning, and
Mhm.
extending it like by a few days, and then by another week, and then a few weeks, and then it was Christmas, and then it was New Year's, and then I was like, okay, you're not going back, like clearly. and, so, and here we are. So, yeah.
That was that was around the time we had all went to San Ambrose, and I even asked Jeffrey. I was like, "Oh, you're from Canada? You going back?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know." And then I don't know turned into a year later of an engagement. This is very exciting, and we're so happy for
It's
you.
the longest first date in the history of man.
I know you would never consider yourself a relationship expert, Isaac, but for someone who proposed a year in, imagine. No, I'm just saying, like, you know, I wouldn't
Who are
either.
you talking to?
No, but for someone who proposed a year in, I'm sure a lot of people get those same magnetizing type emotions and energy with their significant other only a year in. Some people want to wait many years, but if anybody else who wants to get who's listening
I
right
almost
now,
proposed 6 months ago. I didn't tell him that.
so it was always like it's a sooner time than most. But how
Mm.
were you able to be comfortable with that? Because most people are hesitant. They're like, I want to wait 5-10 years before I even think about putting a ring on it.
I think it's individual. It's individual, and
Mm.
marriage is for everyone. You know, I've never been married, but I was in another relationship for 14 years, and he never proposed. You know, and he's older, and so I felt like the dynamic would have been correct if he proposed,
Mhm.
but it never happened, thankfully, for both of us. You know,
Sure.
because it ultimately wasn't aligned. But you know, we learn from every experience, and um, to be honest, the reason I didn't propose 6 months ago was because I'm a little superstitious,
Mm.
and I love numbers, and I felt it was beautiful and aligned again, to propose on our anniversary, November 13th. So it's a blessed number for us. So yeah.
11,
So
1,
our
3.
wedding is actually going to be November 13th next year. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Things are
Kelly
moving along.
marry us.
That's amazing.
Mm.
We better be there. We'll be there and we're going to party. It's going to be a lot.
Yes, of course. Duh.
I want to go back to this idea with you of kind of that everyday hustle and continuously building something. Just because I think that last time we met, it was a lot about giving back, and Thanksgiving has passed us this time around, but it's practically a year since you'd been on the show. But I want to kind of get your thoughts on this, Isaac. Someone who works pretty much every single day, but tends to not get burnt out, or at least what I don't think
I
of
work every day.
every day.
Mm.
How can you do that?
I brush my teeth every day. I wash my ass every day. I love what I do. I mean, um, now look, it doesn't mean that I'm working 16 hours a day. Most days I work from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. nonstop, back-to-back clients, campaigns, publicity deals. But like even on a Sunday, I'll have one or two clients, and I love it. I like to move my body, and I know my body,
Mm,
and so um, I'm not an idle person. Even on vacation, I'm doing live streams because I like it. I'm
right.
I'm connecting with a few clients who may be in the area, or um, you know, arranging business meetings or dinners, or
Mm,
it's synonymous with who I am. And um and I've curated a very what's the word? I've curated a specific world. So my home is very important to me, and it's filled with memories, and everything has a specific place and specific reason for being there.
mm,
And so I find those times every day to connect to it, or take care of my skin, and uh, and read. Like,
mhm.
I don't know. It doesn't. I've never believed in the sort of weekend mentality. I just don't. I don't. I don't get it. For me, I really don't.
Because you're
Do what
building
you
what you
love,
love.
and
No,
then why
yeah.
not do it every day? But I'm also not interested in pushing what I love, or what my life is, on anyone else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And look, it may shift.
Mm,
It may shift. So um, I'm a hustler, baby.
that's it. With the girls and the ring.
I
What
love it.
about this idea of building that brand though? So if someone does fall in love with an idea or a business idea, something that they want to pursue every single day, are there any steps that you either started with or can give us who are listening right now?
Um, don't be a lazy hoe, and don't be entitled or arrogant. It's tough. It's hard, and you're gonna have to do things that you don't want to do, and you're gonna have to start at the bottom and then rise up, and then you may have to be on the bottom again. Be open, be curious, be aware, and think of the big picture. Sometimes you'll get paid less for something, but it's important to do it because it will it will benefit you in a different way
Hmm.
that may actually be more powerful than money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you wrap that around your mind to be able to think it and compartmentalize what you just said, which is
You have to
you have
be.
to like look, yeah.
It's a combination of instinct and knowledge.
Mm,
Read, research. Who are you talking to? Who are you meeting? Who do you want to meet? Who do you emulate? Who are your idols? You know,
hmm.
and surround yourself with people who are like-minded.
Mm,
You know, um, I think that's the most important thing. I have a friend who's wanting to, um, she's at the beginning of her career, and there were some moments in the past year where She was getting down on herself because things weren't moving as rapidly. And I sat her down and I said, well, what did you do these past three days? Because it looked like, they're very loud here, because it looked like she was sort of just like relaxing.
Mm. Time is of the essence.
Madonna became the most successful female artist in history, not because she has the best voice in the world, because she's the hardest worker.
Mm.
She shows up, you know, she always did. She has the same drive now as she did in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to
I
push.
love what you said too about.
Why are you so tired? Why are you resting so much? Wake up. Get out there.
Don't say it enough.
Get
You
out
are
there.
right. You are
Get
right.
out. Offer
Yeah.
it for free.
Right.
I did. Get on your Instagram.
And just
Offer
do
what
it.
you do.
Mm.
I have zero tolerance for laziness and entitlement, and she's one of I love her, and I think the conversation really helped her, because now she's understanding that things don't come easy,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to do it the hard way, you know.
There
For
are
its
no
own sake.
shortcuts.
And look, I've accomplished many beautiful things, and I don't rest on my laurels. I don't think like, I made it.
Tell
No.
me more about that.
I'm like, okay, you know, you set a goal,
Yep.
you achieve it, amazing, work. Next. What's next? How do we connect to more people? How do we connect a little deeper? You know, I don't know it's you have to have fire. Successful people have fire.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I'll never forget you being in Times Square.
I just read a really cool interview with Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
RuPaul was interviewing her. I think it was from Marie Claire. But Dolly, you know, wakes up at 3 a.m. every day and meditates and writes songs and goes through emails and prays and thanks God and journals and looks up, you know, what charities she wants to get involved with, or how she can keep in relationships in that, and then cooks, you know, breakfast for her man. He loves it, and she loves him. I think I'm like, well, that's why you're Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a giver. She's very inspirational to me. Not only is she majorly talented and gorgeous and kind and conscientious, but she's a giver. You know?
Let's talk about betting on yourself for a moment. I think we talked about this last year or through the course of our friendship in general, that like
I thought you
do
said
have to take.
I thought she said, let's talk about betting. I was like, I prefer Frette.
With the whiskey. Now, what do you drink? He always
still water.
With the skull on the cup. I trust it. Betting on yourself. You're someone I would look at. Oh, say it again.
Trust no
one.
I mean it.
I would trust you.
Trust no one. You trust God, and you be honest with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Now that may sound sort of, you know, misanthropic, but it's not. It's smart.
You're a smart man.
Human. Everyone's human.
Oh yeah.
Trust you, and don't be an asshole. And work. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Be aware. Look at your accounts. Where are your coins? Who's trying to take them? Because they always do.
The wise words. This is why we can have you on the
That's
podcast for
true.
so long,
Be aware.
for round number 2, especially when you're younger. I feel like,
Always, always. Just
yeah.
be aware. Mm. I'm sorry, I look really ancient right now because I don't have a frontal light, but oh my God, I look like a horror show, but it's fine. It is. It is what it is. Okay.
We should just have this as thoughts of Isaac Boots. I love your thoughts. Seriously, you it's not even about being filtered or unfiltered. You just say things and like they are
I do
always
have.
pieces of gold.
I have a stream of consciousness.
I love it. Not many people are like that. You can just stream it out.
It's gotten me.
But it's entertaining.
It's gotten me in trouble.
It's
But trouble's fun every now and then, right?
Do you ever have a hard time focusing in general? Maybe on a task or a big project
Yes.
or
Yes. I'm very laser focused. I'm very specific. But if there are noises around me, or if I'm very, I need to curate my space.
Mm,
That is something I should work on.
it's a good. The reason I ask is just I know there's always so many things happening at once in your life,
Ain't
and
that the damn truth?
you know what I
Yes.
mean. And then noise in general is just it cannot always be canceled out, which is why I know that's why your home is your oasis, because you
Yeah.
can focus. And like you'd said, I mean, it's the same reason a lot of people probably want to work. Like, if you're looking at a computer screen, you may want it to just look at the computer screen. You start looking at all these other things. Or if you're like walking on the street, say you're filming something, with noise, actually, maybe in like Seaport. I remember seeing something like that. But like say you're filming something and there's all these distractions. It's like, whoa. You know.
Look, I mean, things like that. If you're outside, I mean, that actually doesn't bother me because I'm going into it knowing that it's the environment. This is part of the feeling of whatever we're trying to get across. But definitely, if I'm home, or doing something like this, I have to have quiet. Yeah.
His stream of consciousness kind of answered this, everybody, but it maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But can you reflect with us back for a moment? And then we're actually going to go into reflection. I can't wait to ask you these questions. But
When will my reflection show who I am?
what
I
is
love
that
movies.
from? Disney.
Mulan.
I thought so.
Hello.
I thought so.
Lea
Yeah.
Salonga. Queen. Let's go.
What did betting on yourself look like at a younger age? When you were just getting like maybe off of Broadway or maybe going to Broadway? I just know that when you took that pivot into doing everything independently as Isaac Boots and then building Torch, that could have been a bet. But I want to ask you from your perspective, what did betting on yourself look like?
A risk. Everything was a risk. No guarantees. From taking a one-way flight to New York from Hawaii the morning after high school graduation, nowhere to live, to making a conscious decision that West Side Story was my last Broadway show. And I opened it and I closed it. I opened it, and when the show closed, I closed it. And that was it. And it was beautiful. And it was a risk to go to LA and choreograph and put all of my energy into that. And it was a risk to come back to New York and just focus on training my clients. But everything I've ever done felt aligned. That's what I wanted to do. It's what I loved. And I don't discount that a lot of it has to do with luck. It just does. People who don't believe in luck aren't connected, because luck is real and we all have luck, but you have to be aware of it. You have to face it and you have to embrace it. And you have to be ready. So wake up, right? If you're asleep, the luck will pass you by. There are times where, whether it's, oh God, like I'm actually tired. Like my body like hurts. Like, I don't know if I can get through Torch. Okay, let's go. I know I feel better after doing it. And I do it. And there's someone on there, there's one person who I've never worked with, who's a major superstar. And they just happened to click on, and they needed what I was giving. And then it creates a relationship, and it shifts your career. Show up. Oh, I don't want to go to that party. Like, whatever. Okay, let's just go, because I said yes, and you have to do the honorable thing, and you show up, and you're there 100%, and you meet an investor. I mean, it's happened to me, and it wouldn't have happened if I was just lazy and tired.
How much of that was you putting yourself out there? Because I think something else I wanted to talk to you about, or
I
I know
always
something.
put myself out there. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have gotten anywhere if I didn't. You have to. You have to be confident, and you also cannot. This is the biggest thing for me, and I think anyone who is attached to entertainment or Hollywood or any type of recognition is, and my Kabbalah teacher Ruth Rosenberg taught me this. You cannot believe the praise and the applause without also believing your critics and the people who say you suck. This is a joke. Ugh, your lips are disgusting. Maybe that they are, but I love them. That is vital, because if you believe in the praise, and the praise always does, it does. There are huge stars, major stars from I mean, even the 80s, but if you think the 1930s and 40s, who people don't know who the hell they are now. Like, they were on top of the world. It doesn't matter. It's all a lie. And then you hear the stories of people who are really successful, and then their sales dip, or their fame shifts, and they succumb to drugs, and they spiral because they put all of their worth into praise, into acclaim. Be thankful for the acclaim, but you have to actually also be thankful for your detractors, because it keeps you aware, and maybe there's an element of truth in it, or there isn't, but you're so secure in yourself that whatever, let's go. Like, what are you in this for? Are you in this just like to have everyone love you? Ain't gonna happen. Not everyone loved Jesus Christ. I mean, damn. Not everyone loved Gandhi. Not everyone loves Barbra Streisand, which I don't understand. But it's like, if you want to play with the big boys, you gotta take the punches. Still water.
Still water or still water?
Either.
You're right. You're hyper aware, and like you had said, it comes with knowledge and experience, and those are really big things to grasp. And if you're listening right now, I could only imagine. I mean, I go through it daily. I think it's a daily practice of understanding what you're actually experiencing, what you're learning. So for you, Isaac, when you retain information or you go through an experience and you realize, oh, damn, that's like something I really want to remember or really hone in on.
I write it down.
Yeah.
I write it down, or I tell Jeffrey to write it down.
You both could have it.
Yeah. Listen, I read every day. Big. And I read things that on paper wouldn't advance my career in any way, but it works your mind, and you have to have an able mind, you know, like Jeffrey and I read to each other every night, and we read like Virginia Woolf or Camus or um, like, you know, like novels, and it's important. It it keeps you curious. It keeps you, um, you know, I like reading books that feel out of grasp, that I have to look up words, and we get to a word and we don't know what it is, and we look it up and then we write it down. You know, it's I know, I think that's important.
The more
And
you know, the better.
it does, it seeps into your everyday life, and it seeps into your work. You know, it gets deeper.
Mm.
And I think it's another example of just not resting on your laurels, you know.
You said something earlier about being lazy, or how it's always about, you know, I mean, I feel like no one should really be lazy. None of us have a right to be so. But if you've ever felt a moment of plateau, I think what could lead to laziness, and I may be very wrong, this is just my opinion. A disclaimer, my opinion here, Isaac. No, but I think that when people get in a moment of laziness, or they feel like they need to take such a big break, it may be, again, opinion here, it may be because they feel like they've hit a rock, or they are at a plateau. So if you've ever been in a moment like that, how did you shift away from it, continue to keep that mentality where it's like, I have to keep going. I need to keep activating something. Even if something got boring and you're like, holy shit, this is like, I'm over this, move on. You know what I mean? Because I think that's where some of that could come from.
Um, I for me, it's replenishing replenishing my, the word that's coming to mind is soul. I know that may sound cliche or too esoteric. But I think what that means is connecting to something that is not attached to the material world. And for me, that is the beach, and taking my shoes off, and even if it's the dead of winter, and feeling the sand and hearing the ocean and looking at the ocean, taking a walk on the beach and having our Davis um, run on it. And that is very important to me. And if I ever do feel run down or burnt out, I know that it's because I haven't done that.
Mm,
You need to find something that focuses you and reminds you that your existence is actually really small. There are so many more profound, beautiful things out there. We're a speck, and it's beautiful. We're a
right,
part of it.
right.
But you know, and I connect to my gran. You know, she passed 12 years ago, and she's my spirit guide, and I light a candle to her every day, and I have her photo up, and with a shrine. She was very Catholic, and so I have her Virgin Mary statue and all that. And I think that's very important, connecting to um, um, the other side,
Mm.
because they are there for you, but you have to thank them and you have to rally. That's
I
for me.
I admire that so much about you, Isaac, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, because as we just, I mean, the beginning of this conversation,
That
I was
feels
talking
so
about
good.
how we
Have
were
you ever
talking
had?
about how much I watch you, and how much all of us see you and Jeffrey on social, or how busy your lives could be, yet you find all this time for your rituals, your spirituality, what settles you, what keeps you grounded. And that could very well be why you're able to be at the peak of where you're at and stay there.
I think that's, you know, it's not really finding time. People find time to scroll on Instagram for
That's
hours,
right. Right.
TikTok, or eat junk food, or sit and watch binge 6 episodes on Netflix. You can find time to brush your teeth, floss, wash your ass, work out, and meditate, and be
Yeah.
thankful too. You can. There are 24 hours in the day.
Gosh, it's so much time, even if you're
There are
getting
a lot
7 or
of
8.
hours, actually. So when you're bored, you can maybe do something that enriches your soul, because that's really the only real thing you have. The body goes, your teeth fall out, you wrinkle, your hair falls out. People
Mine already is.
people don't care about you. It happens. You become invisible, and that's liberating to know, because then you um, appreciate and you make the most of it, and you enrich what is actually everlasting. I know this sounds so. I mean, I don't want to sound like.
I love this.
I mean
This
it.
is
And
great
I'm
conversation for
not
the end of
Mother
the year.
Teresa. I am not Mother Teresa at all.
And y'all,
I,
he's not reading from anything either. This
I
is all
can
from
be a raging bitch, and I can be superficial, and I can put too much um, 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 worth in a Gucci cardigan. But then I have to slap myself and remind myself that it's not real. My grandmother couldn't even rub two nickels together, and she was the happiest person I've ever met. She got something right,
Mm.
and she was the most spectacular person I ever met.
While he's
And
sipping on this,
I've met spectacular people, but it's a reminder.
how do you tap into your creativity? I wanted to ask.
I'm creative. I don't have to tap into it. I
love
don't.
you.
And actually, no one does. It's
I've
you.
heard
Your
that too,
creativity is you. So, like, eat better, take care of your machine, get quiet, make your bed, clean your house. You
Those
can tap
things
into creative. That's true.
yeah.
You're honoring your space. You're honoring yourself.
And creative
Voice
thoughts will
scrub,
trigger. Yeah.
scrub yourself, clean your nails. I'm very adamant about that.
Yeah.
I am. Wash your clothes. Use a lot of soap.
And then you'll tap into your creativity. Let's reflect for a moment. We are well into this podcast episode. And again, Isaac is our first guest, and we are at number 77, which is exactly a year after he came on the podcast during Thanksgiving last year. If you've been tuning in this entire time, I know you're inspired, because I'm sure as hell inspired. But as we wrap, my friend, reflect with me for a moment. It's been a year. And if you can think of some of the best memories, and the reason I ask you for your memories is because if you're listening right now, I would hope that you're also reflecting to some capacity, as we have just a few short weeks left in the year. And it's
Yeah.
very exciting. And like you had said, it's liberating. But if you can give us some of your favorite moments or the most memorable, what were those this past year?
Well, meeting my soon-to-be husband, Jeffrey. Traveling with our close friends to their home in a beautiful place. Strengthening my existing relationships, meaning every week I make it a point, if we're in the same city, my 6 close girlfriends, we meet at my apartment, and no one has their phones on, and we're playing games, and we're laughing, and we're talking, and we're playing cards. Very important. And if we're not in the same city, we do a group Zoom, or we're on a group text, check in on each other. Meeting my Boots babies anywhere I am, if I'm walking through the city, or of course at the torch shop, or anywhere, if anyone comes up to me, that's very a beautiful thing that I love. Seeing Madonna perform in Harlem at like midnight, and then singing Like a Prayer with her and a marching band walking through the streets of Harlem. at 2 a.m. Major and beautiful, because she was a real, what's the word? She was, she didn't know it, but this is another example of doing great work and showing up. She was the reason I got out of poverty as a child. She's the reason I became a dreamer and a doer. It was very inspirational to me. So I'm indebted to her for that. And so many things. I mean, you know, being able to have a life where I can be surrounded by people I love, and continue to raise money for causes that are important to me. And you know, every week I made a goal 3 months ago, that every week I would do one fundraiser on my Instagram and raise at least $5,000 for the Children's Museum of East End, which supports 7 local charities for child abuse prevention, after school care, food pantries. And we've done it. We've raised $5,000 at least every week. And that's dope because that adds up. 5,000 is a lot. But you know, 5 months of 5,000 a week is amazing. I'm proud of it. You know, and yeah,
that's a lot to be reflecting on, and it's so great to hear that it's a lot that you can even bring all that back up. And
Page Six mentioning me. I don't have a publicist.
That's right.
I don't have a publicist. And Page Six mentions me a lot, which I'm very thankful for. But that's something I'm thankful for. I have gratitude for. I don't have a publicist. Newsflash. And there was a moment where where they mentioned me being at Madonna's show. I thought that was cool. I was obsessed with M as a kid. Like, she was like not a human to me. She was like Jesus Christ. Literally.
In full circle.
Yeah. So I'm telling 6-year-old Isaac doing paddle turns to open your heart that he be mentioned in Page Six in the same breath as the Queen. I have gratitude.
I think there was so much that we covered here in the past hour, Isaac, and it all goes back to why we first met. You're a giver, you're a doer, you are iconic in a lot of ways, from not just my perspective, but from a lot of people's perspective. You know what I mean? And if you're tuning in right now and you heard everything that Isaac was reflecting on and grateful for, I think we all have the opportunity to do that, which is why I wanted to bring him back to this podcast. I had a very strong feeling that a lot of what Isaac was going to be talking about and answering to my questions would in turn help you understand that this past year has went by very quickly.
Look at my family.
Jeffrey and this beautiful family of I forget sometimes you have 2 of these beautiful dogs. And
our little prince and his brother Fred.
But if you guys are watching right now, look at how cute they are. And like a lot of what Isaac and Jeffrey have created, not just through their relationship, but in their community, has been nothing but love and give, right? The give back and making sure that people are,
and you know, and snarky moments and festive moments and spirals and things, life, you know.
Oh yeah.
So, also, Madam X, thank you.
Boom. Madonna. And keeping life fun. You guys have so much fun is why I love watching you.
We have fun.
You know, or try to have as much fun as possible from what I can see.
He's always trying to make me go to sleep. He's like, go to bed.
Reasonable hour.
He's like, go to bed. I don't know. and always doing something. So, you know.
If you could recap this episode for us, either the both of you or you, Isaac, and give people a run for their money here as we're about to close out this iconic episode with you, what would you want to tell everybody?
Bad lighting is never the answer, but you have to roll with the punches.
Thank you so much again for saying yes, doing this with me and spending the last hour. You guys are my favorite. I'm so happy for the both of you. Congratulations again. And we look forward to seeing everything else you're going to continue to do. And for all the words, seriously, Isaac, I don't care if it was the stream of your consciousness or the thought you had to the questions I had asked, but all of it was so meaningful. So thank you. And I hope it helps each of you who clicked play on this episode. Thank you so much for even tuning in.
Nice to see you.